I retired, all I knew was defending my end zone.
I didn't know what to do. I always had my guard up.
Ready to tear someone's head off.
Then I stopped settling for safe-ish and got safe with ADT.
With 24/7 monitoring,
What's up, Brian?
I'm more relaxed than ever.
And I don't have my head on the swivel anymore. Oh, a black cat chickadee.
I had a whole defensive scheme to keep it safe-ish.
Woo! And safe-ish wasn't good enough. Oh, hey!
Hey, Bam Bam!
What's going on?
Because now when it comes to protecting my house, I use ADT. Coming through! No, not in my house!
Oh, a cat!
I'm fixing my truck in the driveway when I hear them arguing inside. The wrench slips from my greasy fingers as Jenna's voice cuts through the evening air like broken glass. Maybe if Dad was half as ambitious as Uncle Michael, you wouldn't need to sneak around. The words hit me like a sledgehammer to the gut. I stand there, frozen, oil dripping from the wrench onto my boots. 23 years of marriage, and my 19-year-old daughter just confirmed what I've been pretending not to notice. My name is Thomas Waverly. I'm 44, own a small auto repair shop in this decaying Midwest town, and apparently I'm the family disappointment, at least according to everyone who matters. Through the kitchen window I can see Rebecca pacing. Even from here, her lawyer composure looks cracked. She's gesturing wildly at Jenna, who sits at our kitchen table with that smug expression she inherited from her mother. "Your father is a good man," Rebecca says, but her voice lacks conviction. "A good man who can't even keep his business afloat," Jenna shoots back. "Uncle Michael would never let his family struggle like this." Uncle Michael, my younger brother, the golden child who never stopped shining, even at 39. While I've been elbow deep in engine grease for 2 decades, Michael's been climbing corporate ladders in his $1,000 suits. I wipe my hands on my coveralls and head inside. The arguing stops the moment I appear. Rebecca forces a smile that doesn't reach her eyes. "Hey, honey, how's the truck coming along?" "Fine," I grunt, grabbing a beer from the refrigerator. "What were you two discussing?" Jenna rolls her eyes. "Nothing important, Dad. Just talking about real success." The barb lands exactly where she intended. I take a long pull from my beer and study my daughter. When did she become so cold? When did my own child start looking at me like I was something stuck to her shoe? "Your uncle called," Rebecca says, her voice brightening in that particular way it always does when Michael's mentioned. "He's got another promotion, Vice President of Regional Development." "Good for him," I mutter. "He's coming to dinner Sunday. Mom and Dad are so excited." Of course they are. Robert and Eleanor Waverly worship the ground their younger son walks on. Always have. Growing up, I heard, "Why can't you be more like Michael?" So many times it became background noise. Michael was the athlete. Michael was the scholar. Michael was the one with ambition. I was just Tom, the older brother who disappointed everyone by choosing honest work over corporate climbing. "That's great," I say, heading toward the garage. I'll try to contain my enthusiasm. "Tom," Rebecca calls after me, "maybe you could make an effort for the family?" I pause at the door. What kind of effort would that be, exactly? You know what I mean. Maybe dress nicely, talk about the business positively, show some ambition. There's that word again. Ambition. The magic quality that separates the worthy from the worthless in the Waverly family hierarchy. "I'll see what I can do," I lie, and escape to my workshop. Out here, surrounded by tools and half-assembled engines, I can breathe again. This is my domain, the place where I actually matter, where my hands can fix what's broken, where problems have solutions, where effort produces results. Unlike my marriage, unlike my relationship with my daughter, unlike my standing in the family, I'm organizing my toolbox when I remember the old laptop. It's been sitting on my workbench for weeks, ever since Michael asked to borrow it during his last visit. Said his was in the shop, Needed something for a presentation. I booted up, intending to clear off any files he might have left behind. The thing still has my cloud backup settings, automatically syncing to the family storage account I set up years ago when we all thought sharing photos and documents would bring us closer together. The desktop loads, and I notice several new folders. Most are labeled with corporate acronyms that mean nothing to me. But one catches my attention. Personal Archive. Curiosity gets the better of me. I click it open. The folder contains hundreds of image files, all with recent timestamps. I select one at random and double-click. My world tilts sideways. It's a photo of Rebecca, my wife, in our guest bedroom. She's not alone. Michael is with her, my brother, my wife, in positions that have nothing to do with family relationships. I click another image, then another. Each one drives the knife deeper. These aren't recent mistakes or momentary lapses in judgment. The timestamps span 18 months. The locations include our guest room, our living room, even our kitchen. My hands shake as I scroll through the evidence. Hundreds of photos, thousands maybe, every family gathering, every time I trusted them together, every moment I left them alone while I worked late at the shop. The most recent images are from last month's barbecue. While I was grilling burgers for the family, they were upstairs documenting their betrayal. I lean back in my chair, staring at the screen. The garage suddenly feels too small, the air too thick. 23 years of marriage, a lifetime of playing second fiddle to my brother. And this is what it led to. Rebecca's voice echoes in my memory. Why can't you be more ambitious like your brother? Now I understand. She didn't want me to be like Michael. She wanted Michael. And apparently, she found a way to have both. I close the laptop and sit in the gathering darkness of my workshop. Tomorrow is Saturday. Sunday is family dinner. The whole clan will be there, as always. Mom and Dad beaming at their golden boy, Rebecca hanging on his every word, everyone celebrating Michael's latest triumph. But this Sunday will be different. This Sunday, I'm going to show them what ambition really looks like. Saturday morning arrives gray and cold, matching my mood perfectly. I wake up before dawn, slip out of bed without disturbing Rebecca, and head to the shop early. I need time to think, to plan, to figure out exactly how I'm going to handle this. The auto shop is my sanctuary. Built it from nothing 15 years ago, one customer at a time. It's not glamorous like Michael's corporate office, but it's mine. Every tool has its place. Every job gets done right. Every customer leaves satisfied. Unlike my personal life, apparently. I fire up the coffee maker and open the laptop again. In the harsh fluorescent light of the garage, the images look even more damning. Rebecca and Michael, my wife and my brother, betraying me in my own home. I study the timestamps more carefully. The affair started before our anniversary last year, before Rebecca's big promotion at the law firm, before Michael's latest corporate conquest. While I was working 60-hour weeks to keep the shop afloat, they were playing house upstairs. The workshop door chimes, and Coach Denny walks in. He's been coming here for years, trusting me with his old pickup truck. Denny runs the boxing gym downtown, the kind of place where blue-collar guys go to work out their frustrations with heavy bags and honest sweat. "Morning, Tom," he says, settling his bulk onto a nearby stool. "You look like someone stole your lunch money." "Something like that," I mutter, closing the laptop. Denny's been around long enough to read people. 65 years of life, 40 of them training fighters, and he can spot trouble from across the room. "Want to talk about it?" I consider lying, making up some story about business problems or family stress. But looking at Denny's weathered face, I find myself telling the truth. Not all of it, but enough. "Found out my wife's been cheating," I say, "with my brother." Denny doesn't flinch, doesn't offer empty platitudes or false sympathy, just nods like he's seen this particular tragedy before. "How long?" he asks. 18 months, maybe longer. You sure? I tap the laptop. Pictures don't lie. What are you going to do about it? That's the question, isn't it? What am I going to do? Confront them privately? File for divorce? Pretend I never saw anything? I don't know yet, I admit. Denny stands up, walks over to examine the engine I've been rebuilding. It's a classic Mustang, belonged to a kid who wrapped it around a tree. Not totaled, but close. The kind of job that takes patience, skill, and the willingness to tear everything down before building it back up. You know what I tell my fighters when they get sucker punched? He says, running his hand along the engine block. Don't get mad, get mean, but keep your hands clean. Meaning? Meaning you got two choices, Tom. You can take this beating lying down, or you can show them what happens when they underestimate the wrong guy. He heads for the door, then pauses. Family dinner tomorrow, right? Your folks always do that Sunday thing. Yeah. How did you... Small town, son. Everyone knows everyone's business. Except, apparently, you didn't know yours. After he leaves, I sit alone with his words echoing in my head. Don't get mad, get mean, but keep your hands clean. I open the laptop again and start organizing the photos. Not all of them, I'm not a monster, but the most damning ones, the clearest faces, the most recognizable locations, evidence that can't be denied or explained away. My phone buzzes with a text from Rebecca. Picking up groceries for tomorrow. Need anything special? I stare at the message for a long moment, then type back, just the usual. Can't wait to see everyone. The irony tastes bitter in my mouth. She's shopping for the family dinner where I'm going to destroy her world, where I'm going to show everyone exactly what kind of ambition my brother really has. I spend the rest of the day preparing, not just the photos, but myself. I practice what I'm going to say, how I'm going to handle the aftermath. This isn't just about revenge, it's about truth. About finally showing my family who the real villain is. That evening, Rebecca comes home with bags of groceries and a spring in her step. She's humming while she unpacks ingredients for tomorrow's meal, and I realize she's looking forward to seeing Michael. Of course she is. I got that wine your brother likes, she says, holding up an expensive bottle. The one from his last business trip. Thoughtful of you, I say, and mean it. She has been thoughtful. Thoughtful enough to document her betrayal in high-definition detail. Jenna appears in the kitchen, already dressed for some social event. At 19, she's got Rebecca's sharp features and Michael's easy confidence. She's also got their shared disdain for her old man. Are you actually going to make an effort tomorrow, Dad? She asks, checking her makeup in the microwave's reflection. Or are you going to embarrass us again? Again? You know what I mean. Last time you barely said 2 words to Uncle Michael. Just sat there like some grumpy mechanic. I am a mechanic, Jenna. She rolls her eyes. You could be more than that if you tried. Uncle Michael started with nothing, and look at him now. Actually, Michael started with parents who paid for his college, connections who got him his first job, and a brother who always stepped aside when he wanted something. But I don't bother correcting her. I'll make an effort, I promise. In fact, I'm planning something special. Rebecca looks up from her grocery bags, surprised. Really? What kind of special? You'll see tomorrow. It's a surprise. She smiles, and for a moment, she looks like the woman I married, before the ambition consumed her, before she decided I wasn't enough. I'm glad, Tom, really. I know things have been tense lately. Tense. That's one word for it. Don't worry, I say, opening a beer. Tomorrow's going to be memorable. After dinner, I retreat to the garage and make my final preparations. I create a family group chat on my phone, adding everyone who'll be at dinner. Mom, Dad, Rebecca, Michael, Jenna, my sister Sarah and her husband. Even a few cousins who usually show up. The photos are selected and ready. 18 months of betrayal, curated into an undeniable presentation. Clear faces, clear activities, clear locations. The guest room they thought was private. the kitchen where we eat family meals, the living room where we watch movies together. I title the message simply, Family Ambition. Tomorrow, everyone's going to see exactly what my brother's ambition looks like, what my wife's loyalty is worth, what happens when you spend decades underestimating the family disappointment. I close the laptop and head inside. Rebecca is already asleep, probably dreaming about tomorrow's reunion with her lover. I lie down beside her, staring at the ceiling, counting down the hours. Sunday can't come fast enough. Sunday arrives with the kind of crisp autumn weather that makes family gatherings feel mandatory. I wake up early, shower, and put on my best shirt, the one Rebecca bought me for Christmas, back when she still cared about my appearance. "You look nice," she says, adjusting my collar. Her fingers linger on my chest, and I wonder if she's feeling guilty, if some part of her remembers when we were happy. "Thanks," I say. "Big day." We drive to my parents' house in relative silence. Rebecca stares out the window at the passing neighborhoods, probably thinking about Michael. Jenna sits in the back, scrolling through her phone, documenting her life for social media followers who think our family is picture perfect. The Waverly family home sits on Maple Street, a two-story colonial that's seen better decades. Dad bought it in 1978, back when this neighborhood meant something. Now it's surrounded by rental properties and empty lots, but Mom refuses to move. This is where she raised her boys, where she watched Michael excel and me exist. Michael's car is already in the driveway, a sleek silver sedan that costs more than I make in 6 months. The sight of it makes my stomach clench, but I force myself to stay calm. Everything depends on timing. "There's my successful son," Mom calls from the front porch, arms outstretched. For a moment, I think she means me. Then Michael appears behind her, and I realize she's talking to him. Of course. "Hey, Mom," I say, climbing the steps. She gives me a distracted hug, already looking past me toward Rebecca and Jenna. "Rebecca, darling, you look wonderful. And Jenna, my beautiful granddaughter." Dad appears, gripping my hand in his firm handshake. "Tom, how's the business?" "Surviving," I say. "Well, that's something. Michael was just telling us about his latest promotion. Vice president now, can you believe it?" Actually, I can believe it. Michael's always been good at climbing ladders, especially when he doesn't care who he steps on. We gather in the living room, the same space where we've held family meetings for decades. The furniture hasn't changed much. Mom's floral sofa, Dad's leather recliner, the coffee table covered with photo albums nobody looks at anymore. Michael holds court from the center of the room, regaling everyone with stories from his corporate world. He's wearing a cashmere sweater that probably costs more than my monthly mortgage payment, and his smile is as bright as ever. "The key is recognizing opportunity," he's saying. "When you see something you want, you have to be willing to take it, no matter what." Rebecca nods along, hanging on every word. She's sitting closer to him than necessary, I notice, their knees almost touching. "That's what I keep telling Tom," she says, glancing my way. "Sometimes you have to be more aggressive about going after what you want." "Absolutely," Michael agrees. "Success requires ambition, the willingness to do whatever it takes." I take a sip of my beer and check my phone. The family group chat is ready. The photos are selected. Everyone in this room is about to see exactly what Michael's willing to do for what he wants. "Speaking of ambition," I say, and the room turns toward me. "I've been thinking a lot about that lately." Rebecca looks surprised. She's not used to me contributing to these conversations. "Really?" Dad says. "What kind of thinking?" "Well, you're all right. I haven't been ambitious enough. I've been too trusting, too willing to let other people take what should be mine." Michael shifts in his chair, something flickering across his face. Nervousness? Guilt? Hard to tell. "That's wonderful, Tom," Mom says. "What brought this on?" "Rebecca, actually. She's been very educational about what real ambition looks like. My wife smiles, thinking this is heading somewhere positive. Poor Rebecca. She has no idea what's coming. I've learned so much from watching you two, I continue, looking between her and Michael, about going after what you want, about taking opportunities when they present themselves, about family loyalty. The room is quiet now, everyone focused on my unexpected speech. Even Jenna has looked up from her phone. In fact, I say, pulling out my phone, I want to share something with everyone. A little presentation about ambition, about what it really means to go after what you want. I open the group chat and hover my finger over the send button. Tom, Rebecca says slowly, what are you doing? Showing everyone what you've taught me about ambition, I say. About taking what you want, no matter who gets hurt. Michael starts to stand up. Maybe we should… Sit down, brother, I say, and my tone stops him cold. You're going to want to see this. I hit send. The effect is immediate. Phones buzz around the room like angry wasps. Dad pulls out his reading glasses. Mom fumbles with her screen. Sarah gasps. Jenna's face goes pale. The first photo loads on their screens. Rebecca and Michael in our guest bedroom, their faces clearly visible, their activities unmistakable. Oh my God, Mom whispers. Dad's face turns to stone. What the hell is this? Rebecca tries to grab my phone. Tom, stop this right now. Stop what? I ask, standing up. Showing everyone your ambition? Your willingness to take what you want? Michael finally finds his voice. This is private. You can't just… Private? I laugh, and it sounds harsh in the suddenly silent room. You use my laptop, genius. Everything uploaded to the family cloud. 18 months of your ambition, documented in high-definition detail. More photos are loading on their screens. The kitchen, the living room, the backyard during last month's barbecue. Everywhere I trusted them together. You're sick, Jenna says, staring at her phone in horror. This is sick. What's sick, I say, is what they did. What's sick is 18 months of lies. What's sick is everyone in this room telling me to be more like him. I point at Michael, who's trying to explain to our parents. Well, congratulations. I finally learned what ambition looks like. Taking your brother's wife, in his house, in his bed. Rebecca is crying now, mascara streaming down her cheeks. Please, Tom, we can talk about this privately. Privately? Like you two talked privately for 18 months? Like you privately decided I wasn't good enough? Dad stands up, his face red with anger, but he's not looking at me. Get out, he says to Michael. Both of you. Get out of my house. Dad, Michael starts. You don't understand. I understand perfectly, Dad roars. I understand that my younger son is a lying, cheating piece of garbage. I understand that I've been wrong about everything. Mom is sobbing into her hands. Sarah and her husband are staring at their phones in shock. Jenna has run from the room. This is what you wanted, right? I ask Rebecca. For me to be more ambitious? Well, here I am. Finally willing to fight for what's mine. Michael tries one last time. Tom, we never meant for this to happen. It just… 18 months isn't just happened, Michael. 18 months is a choice, a pattern, a lifestyle. I walk toward the door, then turn back to face the wreckage of my family. You always asked why I couldn't be more like him, I say to Rebecca. Turns out I can be. I can be ambitious. I can take what I want. I can destroy what stands in my way. I pause at the threshold, looking back at the chaos I've unleashed. The difference is, when I do it, I don't pretend it's love. I walk out of my parents' house and into the crisp autumn air. Behind me, I can hear shouting, crying, the sound of 23 years of marriage collapsing. But for the first time in decades, I feel like I can breathe. The war has begun. The fallout starts before I even make it home. My phone buzzes constantly with calls, texts, and voicemails from family members trying to process what just happened. I ignore them all. Rebecca's car isn't in our driveway when I pull up. Good. I need time to prepare for whatever comes next. This was just the opening move, and I know she'll regroup quickly. Lawyers always do. I'm sitting in my kitchen, drinking coffee and planning my next steps, when Jenna bursts through the front door. Her eyes are red from crying, her face twisted with anger. "How could you do that?" she screams. "How could you humiliate us like that?" "I didn't humiliate anyone," I say calmly. "I just showed everyone the truth." "You destroyed our family." "No, sweetheart. Your mother and uncle destroyed our family. I just made sure everyone knew about it." She slams her hand on the kitchen counter. "You're supposed to be the adult. You're supposed to fix things, not make them worse." "Some things can't be fixed, Jenna. Some betrayals are too deep." "So you decided to embarrass Mom in front of the whole family? To ruin Uncle Michael's reputation? To make Grandma cry?" Her words sting because she's not entirely wrong, but she's also not seeing the bigger picture. "Your mother and uncle made their choices," I say. "I just made sure there were consequences." "You're a monster," she spits and storms upstairs to her room. An hour later, Rebecca comes home. She walks into the kitchen like she's entering a courtroom, composed and ready for battle. The tears are gone, replaced by the cold professionalism that made her successful at the law firm. "We need to talk," she says. "I'm listening." She sits across from me at the kitchen table, the same table where we've shared thousands of meals, made countless family decisions, pretended to be happy. "What you did today was cruel and unnecessary," she begins. "We could have handled this privately." "Like you handled the affair privately?" "That's different." "How?" She pauses, searching for the right words. "What happened between Michael and me? It wasn't planned. It wasn't meant to hurt you. 18 months, Rebecca, hundreds of photos. That's not an accident. That's a relationship." Her composure cracks slightly. "You don't understand. You've been distant for years, working all the time, never talking to me, never showing any interest in my life. So you decided to show interest in my brother's life instead. It wasn't like that." "Then what was it like? Help me understand how betraying your husband and destroying your family was somehow justified." She stands up, pacing to the window. "You want to know the truth? Fine. Michael makes me feel alive. He's ambitious, successful, going places. When I'm with him, I remember what it feels like to want something more than this." She gestures around our kitchen, our home, our life. "This isn't enough for you?" I ask. "No, Tom. It's not. It never was. I married you thinking you'd grow, change, become something more. But you're exactly the same person you were 20 years ago." Her honesty cuts deeper than the betrayal. At least the affair was about passion, desire, human weakness. This is about fundamental disappointment, about marrying someone hoping they'd become someone else. "So, you decided to upgrade to the better brother?" "I decided to find happiness wherever I could." "And Michael, what's his excuse?" She turns away from the window. "He loves me. He has for years. We tried to stay away from each other, but you couldn't resist the golden child's charm?" "Don't make this about your childhood issues with Michael." "My childhood issues?" I laugh, but there's no humor in it. "Rebecca, this is exactly about my childhood issues with Michael. He's been taking what's mine his entire life and everyone's always cheered him on. That's not fair." "Fair? You want to talk about fair? Is it fair that I worked 60-hour weeks to build a life for us while you two were playing house upstairs? Is it fair that my own daughter looks at me like I'm garbage because I'm not successful enough? Is it fair that my parents worship a son who's been screwing his brother's wife?" Rebecca sits back down, and for a moment she looks genuinely sorry. "Tom, I never wanted it to happen this way. If you'd just confronted us privately, we could have worked something out." "What kind of something?" "A divorce, a clean separation, shared custody of Jenna. We're all adults here." "Adults," I repeat. "Is that what adults do? Sneak around for 18 months, lie to their families, document their betrayal in photos? We were going to tell you. When? She doesn't answer, which is answer enough. Here's what's going to happen, I say, standing up. You're going to pack your things and leave. Tonight. You can stay with Michael or your sister or a hotel, I don't care. But you're not sleeping in this house. Tom, be reasonable. We can work this out like civilized people. Civilized people don't betray their spouses for 18 months. Civilized people don't gaslight their families about ambition while they're destroying them from the inside. What about Jenna? Jenna can make her own choices. She's 19, old enough to decide which parent she wants to live with. Rebecca's lawyer instincts kick in. If you think you're getting the house in a divorce, you're mistaken. I've contributed to this mortgage for 20 years. We'll let the courts decide that, but tonight, you leave. She stares at me for a long moment, probably calculating her options. Then she nods. Fine, but this isn't over, Tom. You can't destroy people's lives and expect no consequences. Consequences? I stand up, towering over her. Rebecca, you haven't seen consequences yet. What happened today was just the opening act. She heads upstairs to pack, and I hear her on the phone with someone, probably Michael or maybe her sister, planning her next move, figuring out how to minimize the damage. But the damage is just beginning. Today, I showed my family who the real villains are. Tomorrow, I start showing everyone else. An hour later, Rebecca comes downstairs with 2 suitcases and her laptop bag. She pauses at the front door. I did love you once, she says, before you gave up on everything. I never gave up on anything, I reply. I just stopped pretending that being a good man was enough for this family. After she leaves, the house feels different, quieter, but also cleaner somehow, like an infection has been removed. I pour myself a whiskey and sit in my living room, planning my next moves. The family knows the truth now, but that's just the beginning. Rebecca works at a prestigious law firm where reputation matters. Michael's corporate success depends on his image as a family man, a trustworthy leader. They want to play games with my life? Fine. Let's see how they handle it when I start playing back. Monday morning brings the first real test of my new approach. I arrive at the shop early, expecting to lose myself in honest work, but my phone starts ringing before I've even had my first cup of coffee. Tom, it's your mother. Mom's voice sounds strained, older somehow. Yesterday aged her. Hi, Mom. We need to talk about what happened yesterday. Your father and I, we're trying to understand. What's to understand? Michael and Rebecca have been having an affair. I showed everyone the evidence. But the way you did it, honey, in front of the whole family, couldn't you have handled it differently? I set down my coffee mug harder than necessary. How exactly should I have handled it, Mom? Quietly? Privately? Let them continue making a fool of me while everyone wondered why I wasn't more ambitious? That's not what we meant when we said, that's exactly what you meant. For 30 years, you've compared me to Michael, made it clear that I was the disappointment, the son who didn't live up to his potential. Well, now you know what your golden boy's potential really looks like. There's a long pause. He's still our son, Tom. So am I. Of course you are. But this vendetta you're on, it's not healthy. It's not like you. Maybe the old me is exactly the problem. Maybe being nice and understanding and forgiving is what got me into this mess. Tom, I have to go, Mom. I've got work to do. I hang up before she can respond. 5 minutes later, my sister Sarah calls, then my cousin Mike, then Rebecca's sister Jennifer. Everyone wants to talk, to mediate, to find some way to put the family back together. But some things can't be fixed. Some betrayals are too deep, too calculated, too complete. Around 10, I get an unexpected visitor. Patricia Montez, Rebecca's best friend and law partner, walks into my shop wearing a designer suit and a concerned expression. Tom, we need to talk. About what? About Rebecca, about this situation you've created. I wipe my hands on a rag and lean against my workbench. I didn't create any situation, Patricia. I just revealed one. You humiliated her in front of her entire family. Do you have any idea what this could do to her career? Should have thought about that before she started documenting her affair on my laptop. Patricia steps closer, her voice dropping to the tone she probably uses in courtrooms. Look, I get it. You're hurt. You're angry. But destroying Rebecca's reputation isn't going to fix your marriage. I'm not trying to fix my marriage. I'm trying to end it. Then do it like an adult. File for divorce, split your assets, move on with your lives. Don't drag this through the mud. I study Patricia's face, looking for something I can't quite name. She's been Rebecca's friend for 15 years, her confidant, her closest ally. She had to know about the affair. How long have you known? I ask. Known what? About Rebecca and Michael. How long have you been covering for them? Something flickers in her eyes. Guilt, maybe. Or fear. I don't know what you're talking about. Sure you do. Rebecca tells you everything. You two have lunch twice a week, talk on the phone every night. You expect me to believe she hid an 18-month affair from her best friend? Patricia's composure slips slightly. Even if I had suspicions, it wasn't my place to... To what? Tell her husband? Warn the family? Show some basic human decency? It's complicated, Tom. No, it's not. You knew my wife was cheating, and you helped her hide it. That makes you complicit. She straightens her shoulders, back in lawyer mode. I came here to try to help you both find a reasonable solution. But if you're going to be vindictive... Vindictive? I laugh. Patricia, I haven't even started being vindictive yet. After she leaves, I sit in my office and think about what she said, about Rebecca's career, her reputation, the consequences of my actions. Good. I boot up my computer and start researching. Rebecca works for Hartwell, Crane & Associates, one of the city's most prestigious law firms. They handle corporate clients, high-profile cases, the kind of work where image matters as much as competence. I find the firm's website, their social media presence, their client testimonials. Rebecca features prominently in their marketing materials, presented as a rising star, a trusted advisor, a woman of integrity. I wonder how their clients would feel knowing one of their senior associates has been conducting an 18-month affair with her brother-in-law. I also research Michael's company, Meridian Development. He's vice president of regional development, responsible for major construction projects across 3 states. His bio emphasizes his family values, his community involvement, his trustworthy leadership style. Both of them have built their professional success on images of integrity and reliability. Both of them have clients, colleagues, and superiors who expect certain standards of behavior. Both of them are about to discover what happens when those images get shattered. I start with something simple, an anonymous email to the managing partner at Rebecca's firm, with a few carefully selected photos and a brief explanation. Nothing vindictive or emotional, just facts. Rebecca Waverly is conducting an extramarital affair with her husband's brother. Here's the evidence. Thought you should know. Then I do the same with Michael's company. His direct supervisor, the head of HR, a few board members, same photos, same professional tone. Michael Waverly is engaging in behavior that reflects poorly on your organization. Documentation attached. I'm not trying to get them fired. I'm just making sure their colleagues know who they really are. My phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. This is Michael. We need to talk. I text back. Nothing to talk about. Tom, please. This has gone far enough. It's just getting started. Meet me at Murphy's Bar tonight. 1 hour. Let me explain. I stare at the message for a long moment. Murphy's is the dive bar where blue-collar guys go to drink away their problems. It's my territory, not his. Maybe he's finally ready to face me on my turf. Fine. I text back. 8 o'clock. Thank you. Don't thank me yet. I spend the rest of the day working on cars, losing myself in the familiar rhythm of diagnosis and repair. Unlike relationships, engines make sense. When something's broken, you can fix it. When something's worn out, you replace it. When something's contaminated, you flush it clean and start over. At 7:30, I head to Murphy's bar. Time to see what my ambitious little brother has to say for himself. Time to show him what the family disappointment looks like when he finally decides to fight back. Murphy's bar hasn't changed in 20 years. Same cracked vinyl stools, same neon beer signs, same smell of cigarettes and regret. It's the kind of place where working men come to forget their troubles, not the kind of place Michael usually frequents. He's already there when I arrive, looking wildly out of place in his expensive clothes. The regulars eye him with the suspicion reserved for outsiders and tax collectors. He's nursing a whiskey and staring at his phone like it might explode. I slide onto the stool next to him and order a beer. For a few minutes, we sit in silence, two brothers who've run out of things to say to each other. "You look terrible," I finally observe. Michael does look terrible. His usually perfect hair is disheveled, his shirt wrinkled, his face drawn with exhaustion. The golden boy is tarnishing before my eyes. "Thanks," he mutters. "You look different." "How so?" "Harder, like you've been planning this for years." Maybe I have been. Maybe I just didn't know it yet. He takes a long sip of whiskey. "Tom, what happened between Rebecca and me? It wasn't supposed to hurt you." "How exactly was it supposed to work then? You were going to secretly screw my wife forever, and I'd never find out?" "We were going to tell you. Eventually." "When?" He doesn't answer, which tells me everything I need to know. "Let me guess," I continue. "You were waiting for the right moment. After Jenna graduated college, after I got the business more stable, after you figured out how to make yourselves look like the victims." "It's not like that." "Then what is it like, Michael? Help me understand how my little brother decided to destroy my marriage." He turns to face me, and for the first time, I see something other than confidence in his eyes. Guilt, maybe. Or fear. "You want the truth? Fine. I've been in love with Rebecca since before you married her." The words hit me like a physical blow. "What?" "You heard me. I met her first, remember? At that Christmas party in '99. We talked for hours. I was going to ask her out, but then you showed up and she chose you." I remember that party. Rebecca in a red dress, laughing at something I'd said, agreeing to go to dinner the next weekend, the beginning of everything. "So you've been carrying a torch for my wife for 24 years? I tried to get over her. I dated other women, had relationships, even got engaged once. But every time I saw her at family gatherings, every time she smiled at me or asked about my life, you decided to steal her. I decided to finally tell her how I felt. Last year, at Mom's birthday party, when you were outside fixing Dad's lawnmower. We were alone in the kitchen, and I told her." "And she jumped into bed with you?" "No. She was horrified at first. Said it was wrong, that she loved you, that she'd never betray the family like that." "But you convinced her otherwise." Michael drains his whiskey and signals for another. "I told her I'd been pretending for decades, pretending to be happy for you two, pretending not to care, pretending that watching her with you didn't tear me apart every single day." Poor Michael. Must have been so hard being the family favorite while secretly pining for your brother's wife. "You don't understand. Everyone thinks I have everything, but I've never had the one thing I actually wanted. So you took it." She came to me, Tom. A week after that conversation, she showed up at my apartment crying, said you two had been fighting about money, about the business, about your lack of ambition, said she felt trapped in a life that was getting smaller every year. I remember that fight. Rebecca had been pushing me to expand the shop, take on more debt, hire more employees. I'd said we needed to be careful, build slowly, make sure we could handle the growth. She'd accused me of being afraid to take risks. And you were there to comfort her. I was there to listen, to remind her that she deserved better than settling for less than she wanted. Better meaning you. Better meaning someone who appreciated her ambition, someone who understood her need for more than this small-town life. The bartender brings Michael's whiskey, and I order another beer. Around us, the usual crowd of mechanics, construction workers, and retirees pretend not to listen to our conversation. So you seduced my wife by telling her she deserved better than me. I told her she deserved to be happy. And Tom, she is happy. With me. Happier than I've seen her in years. Happy enough to lie to everyone for 18 months? We were protecting you, and the family. We knew it would hurt people if it came out. Protecting me? By making me look like a fool? By letting everyone think I was the problem in my marriage? Michael leans forward, his voice dropping. You were the problem, Tom. You stopped trying years ago. Stopped talking to her, stopped caring about her dreams, stopped being the man she fell in love with. And you stepped in to fill the void. I stepped in to give her what she needed. I study my brother's face, looking for any sign of remorse or shame. Instead, I see something that makes my stomach turn. Righteousness. He actually believes he did the right thing. You know what the funny part is? I say. You're probably right. I probably did stop trying. I probably did get complacent, take her for granted, focus too much on work, and not enough on my marriage. Michael nods, looking relieved that I'm finally seeing reason. But you know what else? I continue. That still doesn't give you the right to screw my wife. That still doesn't excuse 18 months of lies. That still doesn't justify destroying our family. Tom, I'm not finished. My voice carries enough edge to make the bartender look over. You want to know what really pisses me off? It's not even the affair. It's the arrogance, the assumption that you deserve whatever you want, whenever you want it, regardless of who gets hurt. That's not... You've been doing it our entire lives, Michael. Taking my toys when we were kids, dating my girlfriends in high school, getting the college fund when I had to work my way through community college, and now, my wife. Those things weren't... And everyone always cheered you on. Mom and Dad, the family, even Rebecca. Everyone always said I should be more like you. Well, congratulations, you finally got everything you wanted. I stand up and throw a 20 on the bar. But here's the thing about getting everything you want, little brother. Sometimes it comes with a price you weren't expecting to pay. What's that supposed to mean? I lean down close to his ear. It means this is just the beginning. You want to play games with my life? Fine. Let's see how you handle it when I start playing back. Tom, don't do anything stupid. Stupid? Michael, I'm just getting started being smart. I walk toward the door, then pause and turn back. Oh, and Michael? Next time you want to have a heart-to-heart with your brother, pick a different bar. This is my place. You're not welcome here anymore. I leave him sitting alone with his whiskey and his guilt, surrounded by blue-collar men who now know exactly what kind of person he really is. Tomorrow, I'm going to make sure everyone else knows too. Tuesday morning brings consequences. I'm barely through my first cup of coffee when my phone starts buzzing with calls from numbers I don't recognize. Reporters, apparently. Word about the family drama has leaked beyond our immediate circle. Mr. Waverly, this is Jessica Chen from Channel 7 News. We're doing a story about workplace ethics, and wondered if you'd comment on the allegations against your wife and brother. I hang up without responding. 3 more calls follow in quick succession. Local news, apparently, has gotten wind of the story. Someone at Rebecca's law firm or Michael's company must have talked. Good. By noon, I have my answer about who's been talking. Denny shows up at the shop with a newspaper and a grim expression. "You see this?" he asks, spreading the local paper across my workbench. The headline reads, "Local lawyer, developer, accused of affair." Below it, a smaller subheading, "Anonymous tips lead to investigation at prestigious law firm." The article is carefully written, avoiding specific names while making it clear who they're discussing. Rebecca's firm has launched an internal investigation into allegations of conduct unbecoming a member of the bar. Michael's company has placed him on administrative leave pending review. "You do this?" Denny asks. "I sent some emails, shared some information, let people make their own decisions. And now it's in the paper. Now it's in the paper." Denny sits down on a nearby stool, studying my face. "How you feeling about all this?" "Like I'm finally fighting back instead of just taking it." "And how's that working out for you?" Before I can answer, my phone rings again. This time it's Jenna. "Dad, what did you do?" "What do you mean?" "It's all over campus. Someone posted the newspaper article on social media, and now everyone knows about Mom and Uncle Michael. My friends are asking me questions I can't answer." "Tell them the truth. Your mother and uncle had an affair. Your father found out and decided not to keep it secret. You're destroying our family." "Our family was destroyed 18 months ago, Jenna. I'm just making sure everyone knows who did the destroying." She hangs up on me. An hour later, Rebecca calls. "Tom, we need to talk. Right now." I'm listening. "Not on the phone. Meet me at the house. This has gone too far." "I'll be there in an hour." I find Rebecca in our kitchen, surrounded by legal documents and looking like she hasn't slept in days. Her usually perfect appearance is disheveled, her confidence replaced by something approaching panic. "Sit down," she says. "We need to discuss terms." "Terms for what?" "For ending this war you've declared on us." I pour myself a cup of coffee and lean against the counter. "I'm not at war with anyone. I'm just making sure the truth gets told." "The truth?" She laughs bitterly. "The truth is that you've destroyed my career out of spite. I've been suspended pending investigation. My cases have been reassigned. 20 years of building my reputation, gone. Actions have consequences, Rebecca. You should know that, being a lawyer and all. And Michael's been placed on administrative leave. His current projects are being reviewed. His clients are asking questions. His professional reputation is in shambles. Again, consequences." She stands up, pacing to the window. "What do you want, Tom? Money? The house? Full custody of Jenna? Name your price, and let's end this." "I want you to understand something," I say, setting down my coffee. "For 18 months, you and Michael made me look like a fool. You let everyone think I was the problem. The unsuccessful brother, the disappointing husband, the man who wasn't ambitious enough to keep his wife happy. That wasn't our intention. Your intention doesn't matter. What matters is the result. And the result was that I became the family scapegoat while you two played house behind my back. So this is revenge? This is justice." Rebecca turns from the window and I see something new in her expression. Not guilt or remorse, but calculation. "You know what I think?" she says. "I think you're enjoying this. I think you've been waiting your whole life for an excuse to tear down Michael, and I gave you one. Maybe you're right. This isn't about the affair, Tom. This is about 40 years of sibling rivalry finally boiling over. The affair gave me the ammunition, but you're right about the rivalry. I've spent my entire life watching Michael take whatever he wanted while everyone applauded. Well, now it's my turn." "Your turn to what? Destroy people's lives?" "My turn to stop being the nice guy who finishes last." She sits back down at the table, shuffling through her legal documents. "Fine. If that's how you want to play this, I've prepared a counteroffer." "I'm listening." "I've been documenting your behavior since Sunday. The public humiliation, the vindictive emails to our employers, the harassment campaign. I'm prepared to file for divorce on grounds of mental cruelty. Mental cruelty? Your actions show a pattern of psychological abuse designed to destroy my professional and personal reputation. Any judge will see that you're using the affair as an excuse for a calculated campaign of revenge. I have to admire her strategy. Turn the victim into the villain. Make my response to their betrayal look worse than the betrayal itself. Go ahead, I say. File your papers. Let's see how that plays out in court. You don't understand, Tom. I have evidence of your vindictive behavior. Screenshots of the emails you sent, witness testimony about your public humiliation tactics, documentation of the emotional distress you've caused. And I have 18 months of photos showing you screwing my brother in our house, which you obtained illegally and distributed without consent, which were taken on my laptop and uploaded to my cloud account. We stare at each other across the kitchen table, two people who once loved each other, now calculating how much damage we can inflict. This doesn't have to get uglier, she says finally. We can end it here. Quiet divorce, fair division of assets, shared custody of Jenna. You keep your dignity. I keep what's left of my career. And Michael? Michael and I will figure out our own path forward. Together? That's not your concern anymore. I stand up and walk to the back door, looking out at the yard where we used to have barbecues, where Jenna played as a child, where I thought we were building a life together. You know what's funny? I say. A week ago, I would have taken that deal. I would have quietly divorced you, split everything down the middle, and tried to salvage some relationship with my daughter. And now? I turn back to face her. Now I realize that being the nice guy is what got me into this mess. Being understanding, forgiving, willing to compromise, always putting family peace ahead of my own interests. Tom, so here's my counteroffer, Rebecca. You and Michael want to be together? Fine. But you're going to pay the full price for what you did. Not just to me, but to our daughter, our families, everyone who trusted you. What does that mean? It means this isn't over, not even close. I head for the door, then pause. Oh, and Rebecca, you might want to check your email. I sent your law firm's ethics board some additional documentation this morning. Turns out, having an affair with a client's family member while handling their legal matters is a bigger problem than just workplace gossip. Her face goes pale. What client? Michael's company hired your firm 6 months ago for a zoning dispute, remember? You recused yourself from the case because of the family connection. Except you didn't mention that the family connection involved screwing the client's vice president. That's a stretch. Maybe. But the ethics board takes these things seriously. Conflicts of interest, undisclosed relationships, professional misconduct. Even if they don't disbar you, it'll be another black mark on your record. I walk out of the house, leaving her alone with her legal documents and her crumbling career. The war is just getting started. 3 weeks pass before I make my final move. 3 weeks of watching Rebecca and Michael try to rebuild their shattered reputations, of fielding calls from family members begging me to end the vendetta, of planning exactly how I want this to finish. Rebecca has been staying with her sister, fighting the ethics investigation and trying to find a new job. Michael has been placed on permanent administrative leave, his corporate career effectively over. Both of them have been laying low, avoiding public appearances, hoping the scandal will fade. They should have known better. The opportunity comes in the form of the annual Founders Day Festival, a community event where local businesses sponsor booths and prominent citizens give speeches about civic pride and community values. Michael was scheduled to speak before his fall from grace, representing Meridian Development's commitment to local growth. The festival organizers asked me to take his place. Apparently, the story of the betrayed brother who exposed family corruption has made me something of a local hero among the blue-collar crowd. They want me to speak about honest work, family values, and the importance of integrity in business. I accept immediately. Saturday morning dawns clear and cold, perfect weather for the festival. Main Street is closed to traffic, lined with booths selling everything from handmade crafts to political pamphlets. The stage is set up in front of the courthouse, with speakers scheduled throughout the day. I'm the featured speaker at 2 o'clock, prime time for maximum attendance. At 1:30, I'm backstage reviewing my notes when I spot them in the crowd. Rebecca and Michael, standing together near the back, trying to blend in with the other spectators. They probably came to hear what I'm planning to say, to gauge how much more damage I might inflict. They're about to find out. The festival organizer, a cheerful woman named Carol, introduces me to scattered applause. I walk to the microphone, looking out at several hundred faces, including my parents, my sister, various relatives, business associates, and neighbors, and Rebecca and Michael, watching from the back with expressions of dread. "Good afternoon," I begin. "My name is Tom Waverly, and I own Waverly Auto Repair here in town. I was asked to speak today about integrity in business, about the values that make our community strong." The crowd settles in, expecting a typical civic speech about hard work and local pride. "But I want to talk about something else," I continue. "I want to talk about ambition, about the difference between healthy ambition that builds communities and toxic ambition that destroys families." I see Rebecca shift nervously in the crowd. 3 weeks ago, my family was destroyed by toxic ambition, by people who decided that what they wanted was more important than the trust they'd been given, the vows they'd made, the relationships they were supposed to honor. The crowd is paying attention now, sensing that this isn't going to be a typical festival speech. My wife of 23 years had an 18-month affair with my brother. They documented their betrayal in thousands of photos, conducted their relationship in my home, and lied to my face every single day for a year and a half. Gasps ripple through the crowd. I see my mother cover her face with her hands. "But here's what really bothers me," I continue. "It's not just the affair. It's the arrogance, the assumption that they deserved whatever they wanted, regardless of who got hurt. The belief that their ambition, their desires, their happiness mattered more than everyone else's." I pause, letting my words sink in. My wife is a lawyer. She built her career on the idea that she fights for justice, that she protects the innocent, that she upholds the law. But when it came to her own life, she decided that rules were for other people. Rebecca starts pushing through the crowd, trying to leave, but the crowd is too thick and she's trapped. My brother is a business executive. He built his reputation on trust, on integrity, on being a leader people could count on. But when he saw something he wanted, his brother's wife, he decided to take it. Michael is trying to follow Rebecca, but people are staring at them now, recognizing them from the newspaper coverage. They told me I wasn't ambitious enough, that I needed to want more, to reach higher, to stop settling for less than I deserved. Well, they were right about one thing. I did deserve better. I pull out my phone and hold it up. I deserved better than a wife who would betray me for 18 months. I deserved better than a brother who would steal from his own family. I deserved better than people who would lie to my face while destroying my life behind my back. The crowd is completely silent now, hanging on every word. So I decided to show them what real ambition looks like. Not the kind that takes whatever it wants without consequences, but the kind that fights back when it's been wronged. I tap my phone, and the large screen behind me lights up with the first photo. Rebecca and Michael in our guest bedroom, their faces clearly visible. The crowd erupts. Some people gasp, others boo, a few cheer. Rebecca and Michael are trying desperately to push through the crowd, but they're surrounded by angry faces and pointing fingers. "This is what toxic ambition looks like," I say as more photos flash across the screen. "This is what happens when people decide that their wants matter more than other people's lives." Security guards are moving toward the stage, probably to shut down the presentation, but I'm not done yet. "Rebecca Waverly and Michael Waverly," I say, pointing them out in the crowd. "My wife and my brother, the two people I trusted most in the world. Take a good look at them, folks. This is what betrayal looks like." The crowd turns toward them like a pack of wolves. Rebecca is crying. Michael is shouting something I can't hear over the noise. They're being pushed and jostled as they try to escape. And this, I say, gesturing to the chaos in the crowd, is what justice looks like. Security finally reaches the stage and cuts off my microphone, but it doesn't matter. The damage is done. Rebecca and Michael are fleeing through the crowd, pelted with insults and accusations, their reputations destroyed beyond any hope of repair. I walk off the stage and through the crowd, which parts before me like I'm some kind of conquering hero. People pat my back, shake my hand, tell me I did the right thing. At the edge of the festival, I find my truck and climb inside. Through the windshield, I can see the chaos still unfolding on Main Street. Police cars arriving, reporters interviewing witnesses, the festival effectively shut down. My phone buzzes with a text from Michael. "You've destroyed us. I hope you're satisfied." I text back, "I'm satisfied when you understand what it feels like to lose everything you care about." Another text, this time from Rebecca. "This was never about justice. This was about revenge." "You're right," I reply, "and it was perfect." I start the truck and drive away from the festival, away from the chaos, away from the wreckage of my old life. In the rearview mirror, I can see smoke rising from the downtown area, though I'm sure it's just from the food trucks. It looks like the whole world is burning, and for the first time in years, I'm exactly where I want to be. The war is over. I won. Now I get to live with the consequences of victory, and somehow, that feels like the most ambitious thing I've ever done.